You know, our guns aren't completely safe from the federal government. We know that. You know, anytime there's a tragic shooting or there's a rise in the crime rate, somebody tries to blame guns or the availability of guns, but that's a trap, because guns in the hands of good people save lives. And besides, if a gun confiscation law is passed, who's going to obey it? Criminals? Of course not. Good law-abiding people will obey it. That's what we've been trained to do. That's what we've been cultured to do. Criminals are not going to turn in their guns because, by definition, criminals don't obey the law. And besides, they need their guns because they're the tools of their trade. They can't commit violence on others. They can't commit robbery. They can't do the things that they do as criminals without having their guns. Now, you know, when it comes to the Second Amendment, some people who believe in this global culture, you know, you've heard about the globalization of America. Some people say that our president is a citizen of the world, not a citizen of the United States. And some people believe that modern society has evolved beyond the need for individual gun ownership, and the military will protect us from foreign enemies, and the police will protect us from domestic enemies. So they conclude that Americans don't need guns anymore, and the Second Amendment is an anachronism, sort of a curiosity of history. But to most Americans, and if you look at the polls, this is true, including those of us in this room, self-reliance means having not only the ability to protect yourself, but the means to protect yourself as well. And you have to defend yourself, your family, and your country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Giving up, yes. You know, giving up your individual right to keep and bear arms and relying on the government for your self-protection ignores the possibility that the people might have to someday oppose their own government, as our founding fathers did. The lesson of the Second Amendment is that even good intentions are a threat to liberty. As Daniel Webster said, there are men in all ages who mean to govern well, but they mean to govern. They promise to be good masters, but they mean to be masters. Judge Alex Kaczynski, who's the most conservative judge on the very liberal Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in California, he grew up in Eastern Europe, the son of Romanian parents who survived the Holocaust. And he has quite a unique perspective on American liberty. When his fellow jurists in the Ninth Circuit voted to uphold California's ban on so-called assault weapons, Judge Kaczynski dissented. And he reminded us, quote, that tyranny thrives best where government need not fear the wrath of an armed people. He called the Second Amendment a doomsday provision. And I would encourage everybody in this room, when you get on your computer the next time, to Google Kaczynski, K-O-Z-I-N-S-K-I, and doomsday. And you will find this quote, which I'm truncated here a little bit, but you should read the whole thing. He called the Second Amendment a doomsday provision. And he warned that assuming that the government will always be benevolent, quote, is a mistake a free people get to make only once. He talked about the fact that nobody really saw the Third Reich coming until it was too late. And these concerns that he has are the same concerns that our founding fathers had when they wrote and they ratified the Bill of Rights. Students of history know that the Second Amendment simply documents God-given natural rights, the right of self-defense, rights that no person and no government has the authority to take away. Any attempt to take away or diminish these rights is a tyranny that our fathers, our forefathers, fought against, and many died for. The late President Charlton Heston had it right when he said, "From these cold, dead hands." Today, more than ever before, since that fateful day at Concord Bridge, the fate of freedom hangs in the balance. Larry's talked a little bit about the elections coming up. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but you're the only ones in the room. And you can all sing. And I want you to get with your friends, your neighbors, you know, the friends of your kids and your grandkids, and let people know how important it is that we take back this country at the ballot box in November. You know, I can absolutely guarantee you that the anti-gun movement is well-funded, It's well led by such elitists as Hillary Clinton, George Soros, Dianne Feinstein, Chuck Schumer, and New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. They will be extremely well funded and extremely well led, and they will be helped by their regular co-conspirators, the big media, who will make sure that America hears their side of the story, but not the whole story. There will be misinformation, there will be twisted data, there will be scare tactics, and I guarantee you they will reach an all-time high, which is why we've got to all be action-oriented and involved. You know, the Second Amendment is not fundamentally about hunting or shooting, although we all like to do that. It certainly covers that, but the primary purpose for the Second Amendment, the reason it was written into the Bill of Rights of our Constitution, is for the preservation of liberty, the protection of our freedom and our way of life. It was written so individual American citizens could protect their rights to life, liberty, and property against anyone who would seek to deprive them of those rights. And that's true when it comes to citizens banding together to resist an invading force sent by a foreign power. It's true when it comes to American citizens having a last resort against tyranny, one that we will hopefully never ever have to use, against some domestic faction that rises up and tries to impose its will on the American citizenry. And I think Jim said it, the Second Amendment is the one right that protects all other rights. It's an insurance policy, if you will, on American liberty. It was put in place over 200 years ago by courageous men and women who risked their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to make sure that we would always be guaranteed the means to keep, or if necessary, to regain our freedom. When they put their names on the Declaration of Independence, none of them knew for sure that they would survive a war with what was at the time the most powerful country in the world. And if America had lost its bid for freedom, as I said, our founding fathers would likely have been shot or hung as traitors. They gave us their greatest gift, a written constitution designed to preserve freedom and liberty for eternity. And they gave us the Second Amendment as the most important tool to keep that gift intact. Whether you choose to own a gun or not, you can't afford for a single minute to think that the Second Amendment doesn't matter to us, to our children, and to our grandchildren. So thank you all for being a part of this great fight, the fight for freedom. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being so patient and listening to me. God bless you.